like the
Hi there, believers. Welcome to the Terrace Talks. We're going to have a discussion today about light and darkness. And I'd like to take you on a bit of a journey where Christopher, my husband, had a situation where he had gone further on because people around him were satisfied in how they were living in Yahusha, and they were content with what they had, but he wasn't. So he went, as to say, up the mountain, and he wanted to receive more from Yahusha. When he went up the mountain, he looked back. He received from Yahusha, but he looked back and he saw his wife, who was in a lot of stress and turmoil and not believing, and people around. And so he realised, Yahusha said, go back down and help your wife.
Love your wife.
Love your wife and encourage her so that she will come into the reality of the word. So when he came back down and he loved me and this is when he got the 3 rules. He put them to practice. He was letting me have it. He wasn't taking things personal, and he didn't make excuses. And that effect on me was pretty annoying, and I had a violent reaction because I couldn't stir him up. I couldn't get him, bait him into an argument. I couldn't. He was putting the 3 rules to practice in that he couldn't. I couldn't get him to stir out of his belief. I couldn't get him out of the word. I couldn't get him out of the peace that he had with Yahusha, and I lost control. That was the main thing. I had lost control, and that was a plan that Yahusha had, that I'm not meant to have control. I had to give that up. So I'd just like to invite Christopher to come over and to join me so that he can explain this situation with us. And
Hi everybody.
hi, darling.
Hello.
So how was it when you came back from the mountain and you came into the home and wanted to help me and save me and love me? And
Well, I never left the home, did I?
but in yourself.
Spiritually, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I found out a lot of things, and I introduced them through articles, and then he told me, you look at your wife, she doesn't love you, she's actually angry at you and hates you at times.
Yeah.
So I told you to love your wife. From that experience, putting the 3 rules to practice, and no matter what you did or said, I accepted it.
Yeah.
And if you did wrong, that was darkness and you'd fall on your face.
Yeah.
So I let you get up. I was still there helping you and believing in you. Because Yahusha said, she has to be won away from the darkness through the word. The word is where the power is. So she has to take on that word. And if your behavior, excuse me, is right, then she will see the light. So I had to, put a lot off inside myself and give it to you. Whereas this is the sacrifice every man has to make for his wife. So you have to sacrifice yourself, your feelings, your emotions for your wife so that she can see that you're willing to love her and she can start to trust you back and believe in the words that give light. So this is where we saw what is lacking in the body. once we got through it and we started to talk together more, we saw that this is the power the body doesn't have anymore. Because of the mixture that's in the community of darkness and light, there's no power. Yahusha won't flow through it. So Yahusha's looking for the sinner that wants him. He's not interested in the righteous. He's interested in the sinner that wants him. So we've been looking for a way to break it all down so that can happen. How does that sound?
It's wonderful.
All right.
The effect that you had on me with constantly loving, and I could feel that love, and I could feel after testing, and I could feel the trust. I could trust you, and I could then start to love you and give up all my judgments and nastiness in that way, because you were suffering and and going that way. You were having to sacrifice yourself. So that really worked. It really helped and brought me to an amazing place where I could be on the path. And then I started to see Yahusha and learn, and it's just taken away so much heartache out of my life. It's been wonderful.
Great. That's what he wants.
He revealed himself to me through all the things that you'd been saying and telling me and teaching and showing. And you put a lot of effort, not only in me, but then you went to Mark and his family, and you had numerous talks with them and brought them, because they'd all just been immersed, and they were there, not receiving, not getting.
What happened?
When you went into their presence, they couldn't even talk. A lot of them, they were dumbfounded, and they were clammed up, and they were wary of you, and they didn't want to open up, and it was just so difficult. They couldn't. They were blocked.
By what?
By the darkness.
That's it.
So the darkness causes that.
Well, but the light reveals the darkness.
The light, that's it.
And eventually the darkness scatters away, because it can't stand the bright light of truth.
That's it.
It's what we have to understand. It's not us, but his word that has the power in it. So it's very easy to take credit for the power of the word that comes out. But the next time you try to do it, if you take the credit, no power. He won't give it to you. So you have to understand the power is in his word, and the power is him. And you're just here in a protected bubble, and you just say it. You hear him, and you just say it. And once you say it, it's just so powerful it affects everyone around. But it's not me, it's his power. If I believe and trust and I'm behaving, 3 rules are a great help for behaving, well then the power will come out. People get healed, all sorts of things happen. You watch people change their minds and their lifestyle and everything to suit what Yahusha's telling them. And that's quite amazing.
Question.
Yeah?
How did you get that power and obtain Yahusha's power? How did you get to that point? Well,
the thing is, it's very, very simple. You don't take credit for Yahusha's word. So you have to sacrifice your glory and realise the power is in the word. That's what the disciples said. We didn't heal them. The power of Yahusha did. His word. And this is what the whole body has to come into, to realise how he does it through our behaviour. See, there's no culture, there's no tradition, there's no religion. in Yahusha. He's not into those things.
That's right.
They're really darkness, and they pull you into the darkness by wanting to do them. But we have instruction on what to celebrate and what not to. So it's up to us to follow the instruction. And of course, then you get the behaviour, and then Yahusha will trust you that you're going to do and say what he says.
Oh, that's where I've been going so wrong, thinking that I have to change, I have to make these efforts, and I have to strive, and I have to move where, you know, and try to be better and try to be good, and instead of just stepping aside and hearing and letting Yahusha do it through me, I'm wanting all that for myself. I'm wanting and trying to get it for myself. And so that's taking the esteem, the glory, whatever, to want to be someone in Yahusha, which is crazy. So there's no culture, there's no religion, there's no traditions in Yahusha.
That's right.
So in him, everyone is equal.
Yep.
So what we were talking about with the light and the darkness, I would just like to continue that in that vein. Of being aware when you walk in a room, you have a presence, and everyone is aware of that presence. And that's what Yahusha wants us to attain in ourselves. Now you have gone and arrived at that, because when you do walk in a room, there is that effect on everyone. People are aware, and they gather themselves up and want to be on their best behaviour and don't want to open up. But that's the light. So how can you constantly keep that light?
How can you keep the light? By listening, questioning every thought, and bringing it into subjection to the word. So that's how you stay in the light. Very simple, very easy. You check your thoughts with the word that you know in your heart, because he said he writes it on our hearts. So you know where you are in a given situation, and you're at peace, you're okay, whether you know a person or you don't. And the conversation that can ensue, whether it's just simple conversation, if there's truth involved, they feel that.
So you can do that to anyone, anywhere, wherever you go.
So can you?
I can do that, but I'm just saying, it's not just in front of believers that you do this. You do it everywhere. In your life. When you go to work, when you're up the street, your neighbour, any communication you have at the checkout or whatever, Yahusha is there wanting us to shine our light.
Well, to know that you're loved is the most important thing. And when you know Yahusha loves you, that gives you untold confidence, and you believe it, and you know he's chosen you. So you are chosen. You've been adopted into his family. You've got his blood covering you, and inside you have a new heart, and you know your status. So why would you want to step out of being a royal being and discard that knowledge? So it's a constant for me wherever I am. I know who's with me, and I just want to listen, bring everything to the word, and say it that way. Of course, there are situations where you can't, so that's time to shut up.
When you said you know who you are in Yahusha, you know you are a royal being, you know you are loved. Now that concept I haven't had in me, and I haven't accepted and realised and
Aren't you stupid?
been aware. So in doing that, I'm allowing myself open to all these, to be run down and thoughts that come. So
well, you don't go around declaring your status.
No.
You just are, because he says you are.
Yeah.
You don't have to declare it to anybody or get anybody else to recognise it.
No.
That's darkness. That's looking for glory.
Yes.
You want the light.
Yes.
You're not interested in yourself, like the apostle said. We didn't heal them. It's the power of Yahusha.
That's true. Yeah.
They give the glory and the credit to Yahusha constantly.
Yeah.
And that's our life. We have to put ourselves on the altar as a sacrifice. Burn up the self.
So it's all about, putting the self away and knowing who you are. And it's a very quiet, personal life inside, isn't it? And did you find that lonely when you were going through all that to attain it?
Well, when I was doing that, I was looking at right and wrong. So he kept me from that. He fills your heart. Yeah. So you're not lonely. No. Because you love the people around you and you want them to see. Yeah. So it's not going to work unless you have appropriate behaviour to the Torah, what Yahusha expects. Yeah. And they try and catch you out and make you look wrong. Yeah. This thing goes on all the time. It's called you get attacked. Yes. Because they can't let you have it. Yeah. Who you are and where you are and how you can speak with authority. Yeah. Because it's not my authority, it's his authority, it's his word, it's his power. So I just sit back and go, ooh, and I listen and I say what he wants me to in all situations. You don't have time to feel lonely because it's so exciting. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Even when you're sitting by yourself and there's no one else around, you're still excited inside.
Yes, because you're waiting on him to do the next thing. Yeah. But it won't happen unless you're willing to do it, to put yourself on the altar. He won't give you that favour, that his presence and his glory, as we can see throughout history, through the tabernacles and everything. He won't give it unless you're obedient. And that's the right behaviour. That's where the 3 rules comes in, and it's wonderful.
You've hit on a point there about being willing. Now, Yahusha's given us a free will. Yep. And this is a contention in a lot of situations where to be willing, to get to be willing. How do we get to be willing?
Right, you just got to bring everything down to the simplicity of the situation you're in. Yeah. Listen, check the words that are coming at you with scripture. If it's not, well, you just, like humour them. Right, because if you're forceful and pushing it, it's going to go nowhere. That's what religion does, forces it and pushes it. You have to leave people with a choice. So you've got to, you've got to present your answer or your conversation in a way that they can see it's their choice to do it or not.
That's very clever. Yeah. Because if they have to make their mind up, we have to make our minds up about
it's simple.
What we want.
When you communicate, you let people have the choice and you don't push it. You're just sharing information at first. And if they want to come into the experience, well, you know what, they have to go through the process and be tested by Yahusha, not by men.
I know just generally in communication, you listen and wait a lot for people to get their thoughts together and be able to express themselves. It's the opposite to what we do in the world, where we're all jumping on each other and over talking each other. And that's another part of Yahusha's training is, and showing you how to be patient and wait, and to get to that place where you, I suppose that's another dying to yourself.
All you're doing is waiting for someone to ask you something, and you answer it as truthfully and as lovingly as you can.
Yeah.
So you're just waiting for that. Everything's simple. It's not psychological and trying to work it all out.
I'm trying to get into your mind about all the different ways of how you have come through and been able to get to that place, because it's so special. I don't know anyone else in the world who's coming up with these amazing understandings, who's brought the truth in such a simple way, how Yahusha brought it in the scriptures to his disciples, who were simple people who could understand exactly what it meant. And you're breaking everything down to be so easy to understand.
Well, I'm breaking religion down and traditions. Who don't go that way. He's not racist, Yahusha. There's no position, even in the race to get your crown. It's a personal race. It's not against anybody. You're racing against the evil, the darkness, so you can beat it. And he's given us all the weaponry we need to beat it. A lot of people aren't realising that, because they're full of a mixture of religion and the word. And there's interpretations on it that they want to keep people in a mindset. People need to break out to say, I'm getting out of this. I don't have to put up with these so-called leaders. Who are they anyway? You should question them. What are they really saying? Who do they think they are to set themselves up this way? The only way they can do it is through this and certain reputation, maybe scholastic. But it's also an interpretation. Like when we went over to visit Little White, I challenged him and he lied to us and gave false impressions. His wife Phyllis was a nervous wreck all the time. So I can see, since I've done my walk and come back, the right way to treat your woman. You know?
It's very special.
It wasn't pleasant.
No.
You know, I thought we had to help them with their business and everything. And they were so screwed up and so far behind. And when she got found out about her work doing the accounting and the books, she went off her face. I mean, how rude is that? Never ever seen it, never ever apologised. And we went over there in love to be with her for her first operation. We just wanted to love her up and pray and, you know, be there to make it nice. And that was our intention. So when I'm so glad Yahusha took us over there, because Lou was the first one to get the word, his name. So fantastic. But then you find out when you're talking to them, they have an agenda. The agenda is to bring in the Jewish mindset and to teach everybody to do the shadows. So you're actually going back in scripture to worship the shadows, which Yahusha came and fulfilled and created a new covenant, so that we can all enter into that. Our body is the temple, not the temple. They want to rebuild the temple and rebuild animal sacrifices. Well, what an insult is that? So you can see where they're leading the people. I feel so sorry for everybody that's under those leaders, those messianic leaders. They're nobody. They're just men, and they're lying, and they're trying to drag everybody in to make money out of them. I mean, we gave them $30,000 and bought a camera and all sorts of other things. And they just treated us like fools. They received the money gladly, quickly, but when it came for them to give it back, I said, I don't agree with you. I want my money back. And so, you know, he thought everything was going to be all right. But it wasn't, as far as I'm concerned, because I don't want to be blocked at the doorway of what Yahusha's opening to the body now. And he's been rubbishing us for years. And so, you know, he says, oh no, we're not like that. Yes, you are. You really are. You're destroying people's lives. The door is open. Men and women have to go through, but it's going to take someone. You're going to have to have guts. So the background of most of those people coming through now are sinners. You know, he's looking for the sinner, not for the righteous. You know?
So, it's sad.
Well, it's not sad to me. I'm glad I had the experience. It was horrible. We went through it. It's over. We're going on. I don't listen to those people. I listen to Yahusha, and so should you, brothers and sisters.
So it's come out from among them. Come out from among them and enter into this the new covenant, the new way. Go through and get the portal in you. Be immersed in Yahusha's name and receive the set apart spirit, and he will guide you and lead you. It's so different.
And we're not judging, we're just looking at the reality and making a decision and saying it. You know, I think Lew White and his wife need to repent. I really do.
I agree.
And it's just dreadful seeing what they're doing to people all for this. You know?
The religious spirit there, it's the mixture there is
well, he's using religion and it's past, it's old, it's not clean. It was just a shadow. You know, you look at the tabernacle was set up, then David's tent, then the temple, and then Yahusha left it all. He didn't want any part of it anymore because he was bringing himself into being the sacrifice, and he said, your body is now the temple. They, the Jews and these carpetbaggers, standing at, you know, in high places, using the power, which are lies, to stop people from coming in. They just want to control the masses and use them and get whatever they can out of them. It's disgusting.
It's wicked.
But you have to have guts. I think sinners have guts, and they'll say, oh, stuff you, I can see where you're coming from. And they need to do that, to stand up and go for it. And see, I can see they have not been willing to put themselves on the altar. They want to restore the old altar and not put themselves on the altar of the new covenant and burn up the darkness.
That's true.
The darkness is mixed in with the word in the 𝗪𝒂𝒂𝒃 Messianic belief, and they're all dressing up like Jews and carrying on and pushing the Jewish agenda, the older brother. That's not how you interpret the older brother. You can't say that. He's just said it. Put an interpretation. Everyone goes, oh yeah, wonderful. Not true. He's not putting any new stuff out. It's all his old stuff and selling books, and so it just goes on, and you just think, what happened to him?
Yahusha uses some people for a time and then they don't move on. It's true.
Like Solomon.
Putting yourself on the altar, that's the point, because we are a living sacrifice. He wants our sacrifice and praise.
What life does a sacrifice, a bullock that's put on the fire, what life does it have?
It's dead.
No fleshy life, no life in the world. And that's a symbol for us. Yahusha doesn't want us to follow the way of the world, but to follow his word. And there's no way he'll trust his power with the Jews because of what they did, mixed it with idolatry. Now he's revealing all this stuff and looking for the people that want to go to the end. You know? So we have to become that sacrifice where they have failed. They've come so far, then they turn back to religion. And that's traditions and stuff like that. That's not the way. Culture. That's not the way. He's got a new covenant, a new mindset. We should be going on in him. And he's revealing the way for the power to come, but it won't be able to come into mankind unless he's willing to burn up the darkness and live for Yahusha, not himself. Die to the self, sacrifice that old bullock, you know?
That's so amazing. Dying to yourself, that's it. Putting the self off. And that's the only way Yahusha can come in and control you.
Well, it's the only way. You're talking about power, and you want to have that power, and you feel, oh wow, this is amazing. You're feeling his love and his favour. You're wanting that more. Well, he wants something from us too. You know, to put off the ways of the world. So we're clean. He can't dwell in an unclean vessel, but he made our vessel clean. All our sins are forgiven. We're washed in his blood. We've got a new heart. We're in the light. We've got our armour on. We've got his word, and he's writing it on our heart as we go. You know, he wants us to go his way. He doesn't care about Lou White and people like that that want their own way and want to build their kingdom and dominate. You know, that's not what it's about. That's what religion's all about. And that's all about the self. You know,
reputation and status.
I don't want a reputation. I don't care about a reputation. I'm not interested. I'm interested in people that want to go that way, and this is what this information is about. For people who want to follow wholeheartedly, you know, in love and want Yahusha. That's the bride he wants. And they're willing to sacrifice a life on earth for him, for his way, to go his way.
That's his spirit guiding and leading, isn't it? It's just wonderful.
Well, if you want it, you've got to pass to his test. You know, that's the floggings and the rebukes and the jabbings and, you know, all that sort of thing. You've got to pass the test.
Yeah, it's true. You've got to have the guts to go through and do it and really face yourself, face what you've done. And
when you hear this, what does it do to you?
It just excites me. It makes me feel like I want to go on.
Okay, well, that's what religion, that's what the leaders should be telling the people. But they want to be leaders and get the glory and
instead
be wise.
Of giving it out.
Yeah, you've got to give it to people, and they've got to experiment with it, and they've got to find their way. They don't need you doing this at them in their walk. You know, we've all walked the walk. We know what the pain is, what the suffering is. But if you know there's an object at the end, and you actually become willing to go through it, don't you? You want to go through it and come out where you've got his favour, you hear his word, and you're speaking it and acting it. It's not very hard, but these leaders are so wicked, they stop this from happening. They actually stand in the door. That's what Yahusha said. And you won't let them go in, you won't go in yourself. You know, it's so wicked.
And then a lot of people are satisfied where they are, where they've got to, and that becomes then that they get to a point and they never experience that wonderful favour.
Because they've come under the hierarchy and they want to go through the process. That's like the Catholic Church, like all religion. You have to be able to, you know, do 60 million mantras or something and sit in a cave for 24 days or whatever
I'm
it is.
so grateful
insane.
You came back and you helped me and shared and encouraged and suffered through for me. And
well, if I did I pass the test?
Yes, no, you wouldn't have.
So it's his purpose when you look at it. It's all what he's doing because he loves you.
Yes.
So he wants you to understand he's using me for a purpose. So then we can walk hand in hand, share it with the brothers and sisters, our life. And we can be in his purpose. And it starts in your home. That's where it starts,
Yeah,
doesn't it? And
yeah.
then in the assembly.
Yes.
So Yahusha's going to judge us all. We need to be judged because of the darkness is there. He doesn't want the mixture.
That's true.
The word and the darkness.
Yeah.
So the darkness is infiltrated through religion and through men's minds who have a different aim and object than what Yahusha has. But he doesn't care. We have to know, oh, I can see where you are. Okay, right. You know, here's let them have it and you move on. Not staying behind and listening.
No.
That's not going to help.
No.
The darkness comes in.
Yeah.
Then you're overwhelmed and distracted and distressed and upset.
Yeah.
This behaviour that Yahusha's instituting is going to stop mental illness. It's going to give everybody love and peace if they
do it. Choose it.
if they choose to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's all a choice, yeah. And it's up to the individual to do it themselves.
You're not worried about the phone ringing, are you?
No, because it's only a fake caller. But I think you've summed it up, and I think that's amazing. The light disperses the darkness, and it's constantly there. The darkness is constantly there, but the light is brighter.
Yeah.
When you have the light, that is stronger than any darkness.
Well, you say when I walk into a room, people feel, it's usually people that know you, and they cringe if they're doing and thinking something wrong. You can see it. So it's not my power, is it?
No.
It's Yahusha. He's just using me as an example. So you've got to know that's what he wants to do with each and every one of us. So it's not our power.
No.
Yes. But you have to have a standard of behaviour.
It's all about behaviour.
Yeah, and the light lets you see the way.
Yes.
You know, the word is a lamp to your feet, light to your path. So you're looked after, you can see around you wherever you are, it's clear.
Yes.
If you're not doing it, nothing's clear, it's darkness. You've got this cloud over you and you don't feel alive and happy and willing to love someone, you know.
Love you, brothers and sisters, and I think that we've covered a lot of territory today, and hope this encourages you to move on and get your light and shine that in the darkness.
Yeah, move on, get out of it all. Push it away. Don't put up with it. Be free in Yahusha. Because the only real truth in this world is his word. You know, animals don't speak his language, do they?
No.
Right.
Thank you, and bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Like the beat of the tom-tom when the jungle shadows fall. Like the tick-tick-tock of the stately clock as it stands against the wall. Like the drip-drip-drip of the raindrop when the summer shower is through. So a voice within me keeps repeating, you, night and day, you are the one. It's only you beneath the moon and under the sun. Whether near to me or far, doesn't matter where you are, I think about you. Night and day, day and night. Why is it so that this longing for you follows wherever I go? In the roaring traffic's boom, in the silence of my lonely room, I think about you. Night and day, night and day, under the height of me, there's an oh such a hungry yearning burning inside of me, and its torment won't be through till I spend my life making love to you day and night, night and day, night and day, under the height of me. There's a yearning burning down deep inside of me, and its torment won't ever be through till you let me make love to you day and night, night and day, like the beat, beat, beat of the tom-tom when the jungle shadows fall. I wanna love you